Let's talk about January 6th. I know that you took a group from the Frederick County Conservatives Club to the demonstration in Washington. Do you still think the election was stolen?
So just to clarify, I did not take any group. I took 7 of my children.
Okay.
And the group that was, the club was doing their own, accessing of the buses. It had nothing to do with me.
Okay.
I think my name got tied into it because I happened to be somewhat a celebrity. I was a delegate riding on the bus with my kids. But the issue is, election integrity is still in front of us. Like today, you may not know this, but we filed a motion in response to the state's lawsuit. The state has sued to change the law to allow counting of the mail-in ballots as they're coming in. Mm-hmm. Well, the legislature has not authorized that. In fact, the governor vetoed it, and the legislature did not override that veto yet. And yet they're trying to go to the courts, which constitutionally have no standing to change anything. Mm-hmm. And so we filed an opposition today saying, no, let's make sure that the Maryland people know that in the middle of an election, we're not going to change the rules again, just like they did in 2020. In the middle of an election in 2020, courts and executives began issuing COVID orders to change election law, even though the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Maryland both say that only legislatures can do this. So I hope that we can trust the Constitution as a government. That's what I intend to do. And I think if we stick to the laws in the Constitution, everyone has much more of a sense of confidence in the outcome.
And I ask you that question because we interviewed your opponent as well, my colleague, Jamie Costello. And in the interview, he says, and I wrote down what he said, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond. He says, my definition of patriotism was leaving my family, putting on a uniform, and leading soldiers in combat as a member of the 82nd Airborne Division. And it's not lost on me that the definition of patriotism to my opponent in November is putting on a baseball cap and asking people to join him on January 6th to call for Mike Pence to be hung to certify an election. The stakes of this race could not be more.
Well, that's libel and slander on Wes Moore's part, and I didn't know he said that. So I'm putting him on notice. That's libel. I never said such a thing. And for him to even say such a thing is an outrage. And I think he's better than this because I've met him, had a great conversation with him. In fact, we had a wonderful conversation about the fact that I respected his 82nd Airborne service because I, first of all, always honor our veterans. And my own son was in the 82nd Airborne, and so we did a hoo-ah. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that about him. But you know what? He needs to examine the fact that he's been untruthful. He claimed and allowed to stand on national news 3 times that he had a Bronze Star of Valor. But he does not. And he has never corrected that. And I think he needs to come clean.